All right, so we all know how it goes. New year, new goals, but also new excuses on why not to pursue those goals. For the longest time, I put off my goal of starting a podcast because, well, I was intimidated. I wasn't sure how to do anything. I wasn't sure if I wanted to invest the time in doing it, and I certainly didn't want to pay other people to do that stuff for me. Luckily, I came across Spotify for Podcasters, which calmed my nerves as they allowed me to do everything from recording to editing to scheduling and even monetizing my podcast from a single place with literally a click of a few buttons. Seriously, how do you think I crank out 3 episodes a week with such ease? Another cool thing is that they allow me to interact with you guys, which gives me awesome ideas for new episodes and feedback on what you like the request to do more video episodes, right? Best of all, they do it for free. So if you're someone that wants to get a podcast started, but perhaps we're a little intimidated like myself, trust me when I say, just go for it and get started today by either downloading the Spotify for Podcasters app or going to www.spotify.com/podcasters. Trust me, you won't regret it. Hey guys, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to discover what type of trader you are, what type of trader you want to be. Now, I know that seems like a weird question if you're brand new. You're saying, Akil, I know what type of trader I want to be. I want to be a profitable trader. Of course, we all do. But understand there are so many ways you can be profitable at trading, from your bigger philosophical differences, technical versus fundamental, to kind of the more in-depth technical differences. Do I want to be a structured trader, a price action trader, an indicators trader, right? And a lot of the time as a newer trader, we just don't know what that answer is. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the process that you can go through where you can discover for yourself what the best fit is for you. But I am noticing a lot of questions or differences in kind of understanding what to look for in a trade on, and if we have violated something or not. And a lot of that is going to be based on your philosophy of trading. And again, if you are more continuation based, you are going to believe that price is likely to go in the general flow of that direction until said otherwise, I guess you can say. If you're more counter trend based, you're going to require more proof, meaning you're not necessarily thinking price is going to continue up until it is proven that a certain level has been violated enough for the market to show you that we're likely to continue up. So it's one of those things where it's like I am counter trend based, so I always require proof. Again, I'm not a believer in trend is your friend, any of that stuff. I believe in once a certain level is hit, I need to see proof that that level is violated before I can believe that price is going to continue further up. But that's my counter trend brain at work. I'm not going to give the market the benefit of the doubt that it's likely to go up until it proves that it's likely to go up. If you're more trend continuation based, it's a little bit of the opposite. You'll look at price action, hit a level of structure, and be like, nope, still going to continue up. It's going to pause a little bit, but we're going to break through and continue up. So understand that whenever we talk about trend, right, depending on what side of the trend base, counter trend base, like structure, don't like structure, depending on what type of, what side of the line you stand on, you're going to interpret things a little bit differently. And that's part of trading, is learning. If you guys that are in the middle right now, is learning where do you stand on that line? What do you value? Do you value the trend? Do you value structure? Do you value Fibonacci's, right? Do you value, Cody mentioned this earlier, right? He's looking at a 84 even handle. Do you value psychological numbers over other numbers? This is the part of learning. We always talk about finding yourself as a trader, but building your trading philosophy. This is the type of stuff that we're talking about. And you don't have to force it one way or the other. In fact, you don't want to force it. You don't want to make yourself a certain type of trader just because someone else is, or just because you think you have to be this way. What you'll notice is, as you spend more time in the market and as you make more observations, you'll start to understand kind of what you start to predict, what you start to, I hate to use this word, but what you start to feel about the market. And then obviously as you go through back testing and start acquiring numbers, right, you get more and more knowledge, and you continue to grow and continue to grow. So I say that because if you're newer and you're confused right now, you're like, I don't know which way to think. Should I trust structure? Should I not trust structured? Should I do this? Should I do that? You have a long way to go. A long way to go in discovering. And I thought I was a trend trader for the longest time when I first started, because that's what we were supposed to do. Trend is your friend. And I learned, I didn't learn until I tried and failed at many trend continuation strategies. So my learning came from disappointment. My learning came from trading trend continuation strategies recklessly, but trading them nonetheless. And then like constantly seeing like how I felt when price would get to certain levels and I still had to trade the trend. And basically I would be getting signals that would, like at structure, signals that would say buy. And in my mind, I was like, no, like why do I buy here? Like this seems like a sell, like we've hit a roadblock. And at the time you don't know what that is, but you look back in hindsight, you're like, man, that was like my inner counter trend demon screaming at me. And I just started paying attention to how I felt and noticed that every time price would get to those levels, I would feel like that. And then you do bigger deep dives into your personality where, in life in general, I tend to be a contrarian, whether it's, starting your own business, whether it's quitting 3 jobs to go on trading, whether it's like rooting for teams that, like Everton, right? Rooting for teams that are bad. Like I like to kind of go against the grain. Like I like to be the opposite of everyone else, right? I see that in my youngest son as well. And I started looking back on that and being like, okay, well, now it makes sense why this fits my personality. Like this is me in general. I'm that person where 4 people choose the left door, I'm going to go with the right door, right? I like my odds. I'm that person where it's like if 90% of people stay in the comfort zone, I'm going to try to jump out of it, right? But you don't think about those things until you go through trading. And as a good friend of mine once told me that trading is a journey of self-discovery. And I tell you what, you learn just as much as you learn about the markets, you learn a lot about yourself. So it is part of the journey. You guys will experience that. But, my advice is just play around with it. Track how you feel. So when we have these conversations, and like write down like, hey, what Akil said made sense, or like, man, he was talking out his butt. That didn't make any sense to me. But that will help you determine what side of the line you land on. Because if you're like, that kind of makes sense. Well, there may be a little structured counter trend little demon inside of you. Or if you're like, yeah, that sounded all good, Akil, but no, then you may be more trend continuation based. So like, understand for you guys that are new, I always say this, like my job is I'm not trying to create traders that trade like me, right? I always say, and I say this in the most respectful way possible, I can care less how you trade, right? You can be price action, you can be indicator, you can use a line chart, you can build algorithms, right? You can trade fundamentals. I don't really care. My job as a trading coach is to teach you the core principles that matter, no matter what type of trader you are. And that's developing your trading like a business, going through the process the right way. Because whether you're trading, creating an algorithm, whether you're trading mechanically, whether you're trend trading, counter trend trading, structured trading, fundamental trading, right? It's the same ingredients are going to be needed to become successful, right? The only differences are kind of the flavors, right? Think about those different styles as being the flavors, right? That's the only difference. Like a cupcake is made the same way, right? We have a lot of cupcakes at home. My wife did a thing last year where she slept in a tent overnight in front of this Cupcake Factory. Because if you were one of the first, I think 7 people there on the next day on their anniversary, you get cupcakes for a year. And lo and behold, my wife, who's always out for the freebie, slept overnight, and now we get a dozen cupcakes for free. And these are like gourmet cupcakes. We get a dozen cupcakes for free every month, which isn't good for my healthy living goals, but whatever. But anyway, all the cupcakes are made the same, right? They're cupcakes, they're icing, but the ingredients are a little bit different. Some are red velvet, some are party cake, some are cinnamon, some are this, some are that. But the process of making it is going to be the same no matter what. And that's my job as a coach, to kind of run you through that process and then be here to give you both sides of the story. Right? I want to give you, and this is why we look at different options here in the live room. I want to give you different options. I want to look at things from a counter trend trading perspective. I want to look at things from a trend continuation perspective. Sometimes I slip into my biases because automatically, selfishly, I trade for myself. So I always look at things first from my perspective, and that's never going to change. That's part of being a trader. I'm sorry. So sometimes I'll overlook things and be like, nah, I don't care about that, just because I don't personally care about it from my own trading perspective. But the goal is to give you different perspectives of the market and for you guys to ask questions like you've been doing. That way you can get a full picture and you have all the information needed to make what is ultimately the best decision for you. Because the worst thing you want is only information from one side and then you don't hear information from the other side. But if you have information from both sides, now you can kind of take notes, compare, contrast, and kind of see which you value more. So from a philosophical perspective, that is my job as a coach. Some people like it, some people hate it, but some people just want the answer. But what you understand is that there is no general answer. The answer is already inside of you. We just have to bring it out of you and kind of understand what it is. And that takes time and that takes going through a process. Hope you guys found value in the episode. And remember, this is one of the benefits of having coaching and mentorship. Again, I don't want to make this seem like a shameless promotion, but I am a firm believer in the power of mentorship. I am a firm believer in the power of coaching because, well, that's what made the biggest difference in my career. When I stopped trying to do it alone, I started hooking up with people who have done what I'm trying to do. It made it a lot simpler. And one of the things that we try to do as coaches is give back to the trading community, not just by teaching you how to trade, but working you through this process and helping you understand whether you should lean this way, whether you should lean that way. And ultimately, you still have to make the decision on your own, but hopefully we put you in the best situation to come up with the right choice. So if you're interested in learning how to trade with us, check us out, www.tier1trading.com. I recommend the 14-day risk-free trial membership. It gets you on the platform for 14 days, no risk, no auto bill, just a chance to feel us out, see if it's the right fit before you commit. All right, www.tier1trading.com, and I'll see you over there.